On the 8th of March 1998, a man was driving along Columbus Drive near Interstate 4 in Tampa, Florida, when he noticed a 22-year-old woman walking alone on the footpath on the other side of the road. He made a U-turn and pulled up beside her and offered her a ride. She got in the car and he drove to a secluded spot and pulled out a knife and said, "Do what I tell you and you won't get hurt." He then proceeded to violate her before tossing her clothes out the car window and dropping her off. The young woman contacted the police, who collected evidence at the crime scene, including completing an assault kit. She provided a description of the assailant, but despite an exhaustive search for the suspect, the case went cold. In February of 2015, the assault exam kit the woman completed in 1998 was submitted to the crime lab for DNA testing. A match was made to 2 indecent assault cases that had been investigated by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in 1999. Investigators reviewed the other cases where knives were used in the assaults and found similarities in the description of the attacker and car, but at that point, the suspect still hadn't been identified. In July of 2020, the authorities partnered with DNA technology company Parabon, who received the DNA evidence and used genetic genealogy testing to trace down the suspect by visiting ancestry websites, completing family trees of relatives, and narrowing the search to the suspect. In September of 2020, detectives got a break. The suspect was identified to be 60-year-old James Byrd as a possible match to the DNA evidence. The investigators discovered that he lived in the area of the crimes in the late 90s, and his physical description was consistent with the one that was provided by the 22-year-old woman. It's also noted that James Byrd was arrested in March of 1998 in Hollywood, Florida, for another assault allegation where he used a vehicle and a knife, but that case was ultimately thrown out the window due to lack of cooperation from the victim. In November of 2020, detectives began surveillance of Byrd's most recent home in Bellevue, Florida. During the surveillance, they were able to obtain a cigarette butt that he smoked outside a doctor's office in the Villages. That cigarette butt was sent to the crime lab for analysis, and on the 23rd of November 2020, a match between the victim and Byrd was made, confirming he was the attacker. The crime lab report indicated that the DNA match is 700 billion times more likely to be matched to Byrd than any unrelated person. On the 9th of December 2020, Byrd was interviewed by the deputies, but he denied all the allegations. He was arrested and charged with armed kidnapping and indecent assault. He's currently behind bars and is awaiting trial.